Um, Hi, I'm Chris. I have an internship with Fordham University, and I'm a senior at Fordham University. So, a little about me. I'm a communications major, study media and its effects on people. But most importantly, now my internship is creating media, getting stuff from idea to actual measurable content that Fordham or anyone else could really put on their story or put on their Instagram page or TikTok. Well, not anymore. Uh, and explain to other people that either Fordham is the school for you or that we give an experience unlike any other. A video that tells you more than just some pictures or some text saying come here. It shows you, it doesn't tell you. I grew up kind of 34th and 1st, a bit of Midtown. It's in between neighborhoods. My entire life, 21 years. I hope to live and continue to live in the city. I've been here forever and I can't get enough of it. Unless it gets too hot, then I'm out of here. My interests and passions, I'd say being creative in kind of every medium, whether it's photography, audio. I've always liked creating something and then showing it to my parents. Be like, look what I made. And they'd always be like, that's really cool. And now it's evolved to making something and showing it to thousands of people. Uh, but that's still that core element is there of like making something new, challenging myself. The minute something becomes easy and boring, it's just kind of the minute it loses value. Even if it's working, even if it like gets views, it's successful. If it's not challenging anymore and it's not this like new frontier that we're pushing through, then it's kind of lost on me. I used to make very simple videos that were just like me talking at a camera. Those got old, that it's enough of that. So that's one of my passions. Other passions: skateboarding, boxing, just kind of running around, girlfriend, big passion. So the company's Fordham University. I suppose it's higher ed as an industry. The department I'm assigned to is the marketing department, the social media department. They are responsible for all the posts that Fordham makes on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, not anymore, YouTube. So we only work for about 10 hours a week. That means it's a much smaller segment. So I work on maybe one or two projects a week, something very tiny, something very small, one or two videos maybe, just on account of that 10 hours. I mean, you can spend 10 hours and ultimately end up with a 30-second long video, just because, the procuring the footage, if you're filming it, finding it, editing it, sound design. I said editing it twice because that's every time you have to send it back to your boss and your boss's boss and just that whole process, which is not a bad thing, but it does take time. How it's evolved so far. Well, it's gone from just being a kind of peripheral part of the team to now being kind of a core part of the team. We just started like making little videos, more of like a influencer, and then we started editing videos for the Instagram page. At first, our videos were just going on the TikTok, pretty low risk, but now they go on the main guy, which is pretty cool. How I secured it, it was pretty simple. There was no real crazy networking move. It was just my friend said, hey, there's a job, apply on Handshake. And I was like, okay. I applied. I heard back from them a week later. They said, let's have an interview. I said, okay. Bonded over social media, which is a pretty interesting industry because we were like, yeah, no, it's funny because you literally do every single job involved. And like, you're not paid extra. Like it's a $55,000 to $60,000 a year job, but you're expected to film, to edit, to strategize, to conceptualize, to write, to post, to manage, to community engage. It's a crazy amount of stuff you have to do all together, which is why now it's turning into a bigger team. But you can't forget that when it first started, like people were just doing this in their rooms and they were trying to do all this on their own. But now it's recognized as like a very useful tool, having a social media as like a passive funnel and to show people what you're about. But now it's being given a little more money by the heads of departments, which is pretty nice. Meaning that the job field is looking pretty up for that right now. It's not like being a cobbler anymore. We've got like shoemaking machines, but as of right now, we don't have social media machines. We'll see. It's probably next. Why did I apply? Well, I've just been passionate about this since like a pretty young age. I've just been making videos, and whether it's for TikTok or Instagram or just little skits for myself, I've just been kind of fascinated with the video format and putting a camera somewhere, doing a thing, looking at it, being like, that's good, that's bad, that's not good, how can we change this? And just having it be funny. I remember I made little Snapchat videos that were like just to my story, and I thought they were funny. And people would be like, that was kind of funny, and I was like, thank you. And now looking at them now, I'm not like this is legendary, but I can see the use. And I can see that through line of like what I was interested in and what I'm still interested in. The selection process, not very hard. Out of 70 people, there was 2. Didn't feel that competitive since we were already a Fordham student, and because they're paying us this amount. I think they chose me on account of I had the most experience for the position, because everyone else is just like, hey, I want to do this job. I look at social media, but I've been doing this for about 5 or 6 years now, since I was about 15, making little videos and stuff. So, yeah. I don't know if you're gonna count that as experience, but I count that as experience. How's it similar, dissimilar? It's not my first internship. My first one was with the F1IT Inc. They're a dental company. They were mainly focused on producing content and developing, back-end software solutions for dentists. So this would be, hey, I had this new 3D printer that makes teeth. I don't know how to use it. They would come in and they would train you on that. And if you needed, they would set up a website for you. They would set up an Instagram for you. They would do that for you. They had their own in-house marketing team. But in terms of spending money on themselves, they didn't. They didn't have any real desire to put any money into themselves. So they just kind of hired me and were like, hey, listen. I mean, I also knew the founder. They said, a little bit of a nepotism. They said, hey, listen, come here, help us make videos that promote us, because every starting company in their posts, it's all pretty the same. Oh, we're at this event, come by our table. Very boring, cheap stuff. Not to be offensive, but truly, I think a person can look at a post and say like, was effort? I think the algorithm can do that too. Was effort put into this post? Did a person truly care about this, or was it just someone kind of going, you plug a bunch of things into an app that slaps some music on it and it cuts it on the beats, but is it a good video? It's better than nothing, but I don't think it's a good video. But that was my first position, was doing that professionally. I mean, if we're talking first internship, I worked for myself for a while, but professionally, yes, that was my first experience. How it's dissimilar? Well, usually social media teams, especially in the past, have been quite, I'm not looking for the right word, all over the place. Really how a social media team comes into being in the last 4 years is a marketing director who's in charge of like emails and actual physical ad sales, well, buying ads, maybe commercials. They would go, oh, we're missing out, and their higher up would probably tell them, hey, head of marketing, we don't have a social media, we should make one of those, that sounds pretty good. And the person's like, yes, right away. They don't know the first thing about it. They make some pretty silly posts of just like they're just still images, or just like, we are the best, come with us. It's tough because unless you invest a lot of time and energy into consuming it and understanding it and editing it and making it better, you truly won't improve. You can't really do social by just watching a couple videos in your spare time that you've seen on Facebook and trying to make the same. That will do equal to or worse than. It will never do better than the original concept, which is fine for some people. Some people just like, making a video or seeing a video and being like, I'll make that. And they see a prank video, they make a prank video. It's worse than the original, but at least it's something. It's an idea. You took it and made it your own a little bit. But you truly can't do that professionally because the Dobre brothers are famous for just stealing content. You can't really steal content well as a professional because each business is its own. You can't take a shoe Instagram and change it into like a lifestyle Instagram. It's a bit harder to do. So you need someone that's actually dedicated to it, because again, social media is 100 different jobs that they all want you to do at the same time. So this experience has been teaching me more than they usually teach you, because usually they don't teach you anything. They give you money for a skill you already have. Maybe you sharpen it over the course of that experience, but truly, yeah, you're not learning anything new. It's just, hey, could you turn this video of, I had an internship recently that I got rid of because it was like, you're teaching me nothing. They were sending me videos of like them at a conference. They were like, can you make something into this? And I was like, I really don't think so. I wasn't proud of the stuff I was making, so I stepped away from that position because I was like, it became apparent to me that they had nothing to offer me educationally. And at this point in your career, it's just to learn, it's just to develop. I wouldn't be able to take that and go to another interview and say, I had this position for 5 months, I learned all this. I would have said they paid me a little better, but in terms of what they were able to do for me, it was very little. No equipment, no real experience, no one to really talk to. That's where you kind of miss out. Fordham has a huge marketing department. You can kind of talk to everyone there. They're better editors than you, they're better filmers than you. You're not the smartest guy in the room. Not saying I was, but it was not looking too good there. So yeah, Fordham teaches you, which I really appreciate. Now on to the questions. Brooke suggests that work needs to be rewarding, but what would make this rewarding for me? What makes work rewarding for me is that showing it off part, not in a vanity way, but in more of a, am I proud? Like, would I show this to my friends and be like, check out what I made? And they would go like, that's pretty cool, man. And if it doesn't match up to that, it just doesn't feel good. I've always just liked making content that makes people moved. And that sounds pretty generic, but it's fairly true. I like to think that I can take everyone has a camera. Do they use it properly? I don't think so. I'm going to actually check if I'm using mine properly. Yeah, it's still recording. But, oh wow, 15 minutes. We are way over time. Everyone has a camera in their pocket, but is everyone making YouTube videos? No. Should they? I also don't think so. But I like to think that a camera is better in my hands than in someone else's hand. I think that, Google Doc in Career New is probably better in my hands than someone else's. That I can take a bunch of loose ideas and 20 years of wandering the world and watching things, and I can turn that into something meaningful. I can, mush it all together in my head and spit it out as one cohesive video that has a little bit from everything that has come before, but isn't reductive or repetitive. It's something new. And I think social lacks that, especially in the age of artificial intelligence, just kind of making things so similar. All it does is consume and spit out something passable, equal to or less than. But at the scale it can produce it at, it's decent. AI has a tool. It's definitely useful as a tool for research and ideation and, I guess if you're in a competition for who can eat the most energy, it's winning. But I don't think it can take the creative job quite yet. But yes, to be rewarding, it needs to be creative. I need to have my soul in the work. I need to try hard and succeed in making something. I saw this Wired article a while ago about how, work has felt less rewarding. It's because we've broken up work. The Ford system of that factory. A cobbler used to make an entire shoe. We're very shoe-centric today. But a cobbler would make a shoe from leather, work it into a shoe, fit it, size it, rubber. They would do the whole thing. They'd see it to completion, from nothing to something. But now it's, there are some positions that they break it up too much, where you're the social poster. You just take videos someone else made, and you post them, and that's it. You don't get to make anything. You just are a piece of a machine. So I think that's the rewarding part, is being able to kind of grow it like a seed and make it into something. And that's what makes it rewarding for me. And a future career, I don't know if it's going to be in social media, but I think it's going to be in creation or ideation. It'll be me having an idea and saying, this is a good idea, guys. We should work with this. And them going, okay, we hear that. Let's turn that into something. And whether I have a really good team around me that's able to make these things, that's able to edit these things together, able to film these things properly, that'll be the real thing. I guess the dream goal is some director of these kinds of content, but short form, not entire movies. I like film, but I don't know if that's my cup of tea. Think about my personality and my personal history. What of the 4 career models do you think my career is most likely to resemble? Now I do have to brush up on those, because I did entirely forget what those guys are. I did send a PDF. Here it is. But I want to say, me personally, I happen to be a bit like from thing to thing, but I'm from thing to thing when I haven't found a good thing yet, if that makes sense. I jump around when I don't know what I'm doing, but once I know what I'm doing, I kind of apply myself there fully. You know, there's the straight line, there's the... Oh, here it is. Steady state, spiral, transitory. I wouldn't say transitory. I would say a mix of spiral and steady state. I mean, it's kind of hard to break it down into that. But roughly speaking, I think that I would work at a company, learn as much as I can know, and then move from there. Whether it's at the exact same job I'm doing or a different job, that's what I would be doing. Go from this to being a director of not social media, but advertising on TV. Maybe. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know, but I do know that I don't like staying in one place for a very long time, so perhaps steady state at the same job is not exactly for me. Unhealthy passions. Yeah, he had the whole analogy about him and French horns, but I don't think it's an unhealthy passion. I think it kind of fits safely in that healthy passion side where I'll be editing a video and it'll be a flow state, it'll be great. But when I'm not editing videos, I'm not like, I need to be editing videos right now. Like, I can totally walk away from it and be like, that's fine. Not do it for like 2 weeks, then come back to it, no problem. It's a nice mix of a thing that I was interested in. It was definitely unhealthy when I first did it on TikTok. I built a following of like 180,000 people, but that was unhealthy. It was like 4 posts a day. It was every second I was worried about what do I make. But that experience at a young age really taught me to stop worrying about externals, to just focus on what I can create artistically. I made the mistake of just making stuff that was just mundane. It was simple, easy to make, easy to produce. Like, I felt like a factory. I didn't like it very much. So now it's more of a simple passion where I think my videos now are a lot more artistic and they have a lot more meaning behind it, but it's also, I acknowledge that it's work. It's not, when it comes to me doing things for fun, I find that I honestly don't like filming them. I made a necklace for my girlfriend and I was thinking about like filming the whole process. And then I was like, truthfully, I just kind of like time alone, just making my own stuff. And I do like separating things from camera and off camera. That's just kind of the way I like to do it. It's funny, you don't meet a lot of social media managers that actually detest the social media. I truly do dislike some social medias occasionally, just on account of like that stealing they try to do. I like Instagram as a platform to see content in a little bite, but I don't like it in terms of you should look this way. I mean, again, you've heard this a million times, but I really do think that there is a place for content that is not trying to sell you something. It is just trying to show you, this is really cool. Take a look at this. All right, bye. Like, I think there's a place for that kind of content, and that employers and people who are going to buy something from you really can see that they just enjoy spending the time with you. I really enjoy YouTube for that reason, where you kind of form that relationship with a person that's completely one-sided, where you're watching them do this video and you're like, I really like what you're doing here. And it's a bit like company, and it's a bit like exploration. It's like a friend. You're learning something, but you're also part of something, like a community. There's something a lot more meaningful about that than just a grift. I feel like a lot of social has just drifted into grifts. I mean, you can even look at the, meme coins that are happening now, and it's all people just trying to redistribute money from people who don't know better to people who know a little too much. Maybe a social page can just be plainly beneficial. They'll just make cool stuff, get that brand name out there, give away free Red Bull just cause. Not that you have to be like, buy my Red Bull right now. It's just doing good PR for a company, not trying to sell every second, but offering something of value for free. Like a business card. Take this, think about it, no worries. I think we're missing that. I don't think my passion's unhealthy. I think we're chilling. The signs of such a problem of an unhealthy habit. Yeah, if you're working on it all the time and you can't get away from it. Ultimately, I'm excited about this class and seeing how this develops into a career, because that's the end goal, I mean, there were some very good points in the article, but the end goal, unfortunately, is while we say, it's important to do what you love and blah, 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 are you getting paid for it? Can you pay the bills? That stuff does, we like to pretend that it's not that important, we can find something, but in this world that we live in, eating and stuff, it's pretty important. And I'm sure you can find things that are like that, but there definitely is a balance. I think it's a lot closer to the middle than we often make it out to be. But yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.